I've been using filters and squeeze pouches for absolutely ages now, and I'm finally switching to chemical treatment, and here's why. Let's go. Hello fellow hiker and world traveller, Russ here, bringing you the best tips and inspiration for hiking around the world. I've been using the Sawyer water filter and the Cnoc Vecto squeeze pouch for quite some time now, and I recently picked up a set of these Aquamira Part A and B chemical treatment drops, and I'm really enjoying using these, but I've really enjoyed using the filter and the squeeze pouches as well. But I'm really running into some issues and I can't quite decide. But after using these, I think I know what I'm going to do. So in this video, I'm going to go over all of the benefits, the drawbacks of using both, how you use both, and come to a conclusion as to why I'm switching to chemical treatments. So for those of you who've never used a Sawyer Squeeze water filter before, it's actually quite simple. I mean, you can actually screw these on top of a bottle which is filled with dirty water and squeeze it out. But what I've been doing, which has been recommended by a lot of thru hikers out there, has been using a Cnoc Vecto kind of water pouch, which you fill with the dirty water, you squeeze the Sawyer Squeeze onto the bottom, and then you squeeze the water through the pouch, through the filter, and out the end comes your clean drinking water. Sounds simple, right? But when you look at these drops, you've got Part A and B, you take off this little cap, you squeeze 7 drops per litre of each one into the cap, you let it settle for a minute for the chemicals to start becoming active, and then you pour that into your litre of dirty water, wait half an hour, and you're good to go. Also sounds simple, but there are some benefits and drawbacks of using both of these, so I'm going to go over those now. The benefits of using a Sawyer Squeeze and the water pouch is that it's fast, you get clearer water, there's no funny taste, you can screw this thing onto a bottle so you don't actually have to use the pouches, and it's very convenient. The drawbacks that I've had of using this system is that the bags can break. I mean, this is the second Cnoc Vecto water pouch that I've used. They actually sent me this one for free in replacement of my version 1. So this is version 2. Version 1 had a very different hook on the top, and it didn't have these kind of little loops that keep everything attached. So on the version 1, everything you could take off and actually lose, but they've kind of updated that, but they've made the material a lot thinner. And on the neck of the pouch, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, I'll get a close-up of it and show you, but there's actually a split, and I've only used this thing twice. The last one, basically I rolled it over, maybe gave it a little bit too much, and this hook on the top, this little loop thing, actually split, snapped, and then poked a massive hole into the bag. So very unreliable. I don't usually, if I don't like a product, I won't review it. I don't like doing bad reviews. The version 1 was great until I split it open with the top of the thing. Thanks to Cnoc for sending me this one in, but I think I'm gonna stop using these from now on. It's just the reliability of this product. If I'm out in the desert, on the PCT, and I really need some water, and there's a freaking hole in this thing, and I've not got a way to squeeze water through the filter, it's gonna really kind of do my head in, and I don't know, I might dehydrate and not be able to find water for ages. It could turn out to be quite a bad situation if this thing fails on me in the desert. So that's the pouch. I mean, but when it comes to the actual filter, I'm always quite paranoid that if I go up somewhere really cold, if I go onto the tops and it gets sub-zero and I've got this thing on the outside of my pack, if the water that's like the residue that's left inside the filter freezes, it can actually break the little membrane tubes inside the filter and stop it working. I don't know if I've ever done that. The last Sawyer Squeeze that I had, I took it to Everest Base Camp, it got to -20, and I forgot that this thing could break if it froze, and I didn't use it afterwards once it got down to sub-zero temperatures, and then I went and bought a new one because I was just paranoid. I wasn't sure if this thing was broken. I'm not sure if there's a way to actually tell if it's broken if you use it. Will the water just really come through really quickly and the flow will just be off? Have no idea. So I'm always quite paranoid, especially if I've dropped it as well. The last one I dropped it on the hard ground. I don't know if that will break what's inside it, so I'm always a little bit paranoid as to whether I've broken the filter itself. So that's the benefits and the drawbacks of this system with the filter and the squeeze pouch. Let's look at the chemical drops in a little bit more detail now. The benefits of the chemical drops are that they're very reliable. They'll just sit in your pack and they're there. Like, that's all they are, just some little drops. If they get down to sub-zero temperatures, I don't know what the freezing point of these drops is. If they did freeze, you could just put them in your jacket so that they can thaw out, and once they're thawed out you can reuse them. These two bottles, as they are when they're full up, weigh less than the pair of these put together on the other system. I've been told also that the chemicals last a really long time. Impala on Trail and a few other people that I've been speaking to who use these drops say that like one pair of these bottles, as they come filled up, will last you an entire through hike, if not more. So I've been using these quite a bit, and they just, yeah, they seem to go on forever. Another benefit is that there is no need for extra equipment, so all you need is these two bottles and the vessel that you're going to put the dirty water in, and then pop these in and you're done. There's a lot less stopping time as well with the chemicals, so when you're on the trail you just fill up your dirty water bottle, pop these in, and then walk and wait half an hour while you're walking, and then the drops have done their job. With the Sawyer Squeeze and the pouch, basically you got to stop for quite a while, take your pack off, you got to take this out, you got to fill it up, you got to squeeze the water through. There's a lot more faff involved with the filtration system. And also when you're on the trail, if it's cold, wet, windy, there's a lot less brain power involved with using these, whereas with the filter, because of all the things and the steps you have to do, you have to use your mind a little bit more. So these are just a much more simpler solution. Now we've talked about the benefits with the chemicals, let's talk about some of the drawbacks. So the first and most obvious drawback with the chemicals is that it makes the water have a funny taste. It basically tastes like very mild chlorine-y kind of pool water kind of flavour. So like it's bearable, it's not that strong, but you notice it, it's definitely there. Another drawback is that you have to wait half an hour after you've put the drops in, but to be honest, I find that like waiting half an hour, once you put the drops in, just do another bit of walking for half an hour, set a timer on your phone or on your watch or whatever you, or however you wish. Once that time is done, then your water's good to drink. The less stopping time kind of counteracts that and balances out the drawback of having to wait. I did mention about these not breaking if they freeze, but if the bottle, I've seen some hikers upload pictures and videos of the corner of the bottle actually getting a little split in it and leaking, so I think you just got to kind of take care of the bottle. But if one of these breaks and you lose all the chemicals in just one of them, they become completely and utterly useless. Another drawback is if the water is silty, sandy, mucky, muddy or anything like that, then you kind of need to use something to filter out all of that muck that's in the water before you put these drops in, just so that yes, you'll have sterilized water, but if you're drinking silty water, it's not going to be very nice and you're going to get like crap in your mouth. It's not going to be very enjoyable to drink. So you do have to, if it's not a very clear water source, you do have to kind of use something to filter out all the bits. And another drawback that I found is if it's incredibly windy, when you're taking this cap off and you're putting the drops in, you got to be really careful about where you put it, because the wind can just take this entire cap full of activating chemicals with it, and if you lose this little cap, you've got to find something else to use to mix these chemicals up. So if it's windy, a little bit of a pain. So that's the benefits and drawbacks of both of these systems. To be quite honest with you, I'm just getting a little bit sick and tired of having to buy new pouches, of being paranoid of breaking the filter itself. I don't know, that's just me. Other hikers probably don't have this issue, but for me, those two are the probably biggest drawbacks about this system. I'm one of these people that I know I can do a trek 100% if I don't get sick. And I know there's people out there that will be like, you're too worried about it. You're probably right, but I don't want to get sick out on trail. I just don't want to risk it. Like, I love walking so much and being out there, that if the one thing that will definitely stop me from doing it is getting sick, I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure that I don't. So yeah, I'm always a little bit paranoid about the filter freezing or breaking and not knowing, and thinking I'm filtering water and actually just drinking a litre full of Giardia. With the drops, I'm happy to spend less time putting the drops in, but waiting that extra half an hour. I'll be walking anyway in that half an hour. I can do something in half an hour while I'm waiting. I'm never that desperate for a drink that I can't wait half an hour for clean water. So that drawback for me isn't an issue. With the drops, compared to the filter, there is less stuff to bring. You don't need a filter, you don't need the pouch, you just need the water bottle and the drops. I'm already wearing a buff most of the time, so if I need to strain out any kind of siltiness from the water, I've got that, so less stuff to bring. Another drawback with the Sawyer Squeeze is that you need to back flush these every so often. With the Squeeze, you don't have to so much, but if you've got the mini or the micro Squeeze, I've tested them both, and you need to backwash them a lot. You either have to bring the syringe that comes with it, or you can just put it in the bottle the other way around, put the cap on the top, and then squeeze the clean water through the other side. It can be a little bit of a chore, but it's never been too much of an issue, but it is something to keep in mind. Another thing that I'm really keen on over the drops versus the filter is that the drops literally cost 10 quid on Amazon, whereas the filter, that costs about 50 quid. The Cnoc Vecto costs about 15 quid, something like that. I did get the second Vecto for free, but because I've had to buy another Sawyer Squeeze and I've had to get the second Vecto, in total this system has cost me 130 quid so far versus the 10 quid and the only 10 quid that I've spent on the drops. So in the long run, for me, the drops have been way cheaper. So overall, I am switching to the drops 90% of the time. When I get onto the PCT and I start hiking in the desert, I might bring a Sawyer filter and just screw it onto the top of the bottle threads that they've got. So here in the UK, the Sawyer Squeeze actually doesn't screw onto the bottles that we've got over here. They're a different thread and cap size. But when you go over to the US and you put these on one of the bottles, like the Smart Water bottles, it will actually just screw straight onto the bottle, so you can fill up the bottle with dirty water and then drink straight from the filter. So in the desert, yes, I will probably bring this, but when I get to the Sierra, the Cascades in Oregon and Washington, I'll probably ditch the filter and just use the chemicals instead, because it will just be so much simpler. Simply because in the desert, there might be a lot less clear water sources. I might have to drink from some troughs, so filtering just from a bandana or a buff might not be enough. So yes to the Sawyer Squeeze filter for the desert with the drops, and no Sawyer Squeeze and just the drops for the rest of the way. So campfire question, which water treatment system will you be using this year? Will you be going for a filtration system with a bag, or will you be going with something a lot more simpler like the drops? Let us know down below in the comments section. The Trail Hunter community would love to hear from you. Thanks everyone for watching this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it, and I'll see you in the next one.